G'day, folks. This is James Bennett Hullen for the JBH Show, also known as the Just Another Bloke with a podcast. And today I've got Jonno McCartney, who insisted that I introduce him as just another bloke. So welcome, Jonno.
Jimmy, how are you,
Introduce
mate?
yourself. Very well, very well. What do you do?
What do I do? Oh, wow, that's a massive question straight off the bat.
Why you're here.
That's a lot of stuff that I do.
Yeah.
Father of three.
Yep.
Got the three boys.
Awesome.
They're 18, 15 and 12, I think, this
Yep.
year. So
Fun.
yeah, good lads.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all different personalities and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But we've got the ProLink business, which is I'm an electrician by trade.
Yep.
Actually a baker before that. But got to a point in my life where I just hated doing it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Early mornings or?
Early mornings,
Yeah.
yeah. I got to the stage, I made my first century in cricket,
Yeah.
and I still had to go to work that night.
Oh,
So,
rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not that anyone needs to know. Oh, well, it's going to be live now anyway, but I was having a fair few cans that night whilst I was making the production. I was by myself in there, but
right.
yeah, and Foster's was the choice for such
Yeah.
stupid reason.
Yeah.
Whenever you make a
wrong with you?
century and
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, so we've got ProLink. I'm an electrician, so had that moment in life where, you know, I mean, the crossroads. Do you want to keep going down the life that you're leading, or do you want to make a change? And I asked my boss at the stage. I said, "Oh, what would you be if you had your time again?" And he said, "A plumber or a sparky." And at that point in my life, I had no idea what a fucking hammer was. I wouldn't know what end to use.
Yeah.
So went and did a little bit of research and ended up at Swinburne at Hawthorn and enrolled in a pre-app and just fell in love with it 2 days later.
Yeah, nice.
It just inspired me, just going, this is what I want to do.
Yep.
And it was really cool because, like, when I go out to the schools and talk to kids and all that sort of stuff, if you want to be a tradie, you've actually got to know math.
Yeah.
And I buggered around Sutton Fierce when I was younger.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fascinating. Like, you don't think you're paying attention in school until you find your passion. And all the stuff that you learn in school come flooding back, like
100%.
Pythagoras theorem, trigonometry, all this stuff that bored the hell out of me when I was younger.
Yeah.
It all just came flooding back, and because it was something that I was passionate about.
There you go.
Yeah, so
I haven't used any of that since I left school.
no, you probably won't, brother.
But I'm much more of a history guy. So I was one of the few in my year level that did both histories that were available towards the end, and history quotes and facts and that sort of stuff. They just burned into my head for some reason, and they just stick around.
Yeah,
So,
like my mates, a couple of my best mates, they were the same, like absolute history buffs.
Yeah.
Loved it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I was going to become passionate about history, it would come flooding back too. So.
yeah, correct. So what about electricianing, if that's the technical term?
Yeah.
Made you so passionate? What excited you about it? Was it working with your hands or?
There's a bit of ego in electrical.
Yeah.
Because, the thought of saving the day, I guess,
Let there be
which is
light.
why I don't like most electricians,
Yeah.
because we are quite egocentric.
Right. Cool.
But once we get past that, there's a lot of joy that you can have in it, because there is a lot of thought and a lot of diversity in the work as well. So, I mean, it's taken me all over Australia. I've worked in every state, done a lot of work in the mines and all that sort of stuff, which was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Like, you sort of forget that when you're in your own little bubble down here, once you go out into the big wide world and you realise that you're not as good as what you think, you have to step back into that learning mindset again.
Yeah.
And that mining experience, 3 years I think I did up there, was incredible.
Yeah.
Just
And the scale of those things. They're just
mate,
massive.
full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we found, like, when I walked in there, it was in the middle of the mining downturn, and I'm like,
Oh, okay.
oh, well, I'm pot committed now.
Yeah,
just
correct,
see
I'm
what
here.
I can make of it. And the lads up there were brilliant. Jason, Pete, Jace put me up for 9 months at his joint with the family, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And I got to learn. They put me through the solar course up there. And so when the work wasn't out happening in Moranbah and out Claremont, I'd come back into town and do solar, which was fun.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what else is there? There's got to be an opportunity somewhere.
Yeah.
And me being who I am, I love having a beer and a yarn with people. And sort of led me to a Rio Tinto mine where I was having a beer with a couple of IT guys one night. And they said, "Do you know how to do fibre optic?" And I'm like, "Sure." No idea.
No, but I'll figure it out.
No, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so the next month, I went to Cairns, did a whole heap of training up in Cairns, come back down to Melbourne, spoke to every fibre rep down here. They helped me quote some projects.
Yeah.
And then we stumbled onto one that we won.
Yeah.
And then
Booyah.
the rest was history. We did some of the biggest fibre optic projects going around up in Mackay and out the west there in the Bowen Basin. And it was fantastic. So just be curious, I guess, is the big thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Just go, yeah, I can do that. Make it up as I go along.
An expert in fibre optic?
I know a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah, okay.
I'd say that
Jack
probably.
of all trades.
Jack of all trades,
Yep.
But I think if I like finding solutions for people.
Yeah.
That's because, and nothing's ever too much trouble. So that's the attitude that's sort of given us success in our space, in everything that I touch.
Yeah.
With the community stuff that we are doing. Just have an attitude and open mind and just have a crack.
Work it out.
And work it out along the way.
So what community stuff are you doing? Run through that.
I've got a big going on over there, mate.
Go on.
Yeah. So with originally before COVID, I was a massive advocate for power strength vulnerability. Still am. They do some really good work with mental health. Post COVID, so during COVID, I really didn't like the version of myself that came through in lockdown 1.
Yep.
Just watched a lot of Netflix and got fat.
Yeah.
And when we got locked down again, I was like, I want something else.
Yeah,
so
correct.
I actually
Do the same
was
thing.
doing a service job, and I came across this woman it was a maintenance job for a property manager.
Yeah.
And she taught herself French and German.
Cool.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
What, during the lockdown?
during the lockdown.
Yeah, sick.
And I'm like, I need to be better here.
Yeah, correct.
So I taught myself how to sing.
Yeah, nice.
So I'd always been passionate about singing.
Yep.
But it got squashed when I went and sang Boys to Men in high school in front of the entire year level.
Yeah, okay.
The girls loved it.
Yeah.
But
Everyone else.
everybody
bullied it.
really gave me a hard time about it.
Yeah.
And so I just put it to the side for a little bit. And then, but by doing what I'd done, it introduced me to some other families. So we've got, so I coach sport, like basketball.
Yep.
The kids are heavily involved in football. The community stuff that we do, which is the Rising Sun charity.
Yes.
So one of the dads from basketball, we were just sitting around his place one night and he had his guitar out and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm singing, and we just started doing a bit. And
Yeah, nice.
his wife said to us, you two actually sound good together, you should do something. And then forward-thinking brain clicked in and it's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do something. So then with the Rising Sun charity, that Neil and Chris had been working in that for a couple of years, and I was really curious about it because I didn't really understand PTSD too much.
Yeah.
And when the boys, and some of the stories I've heard over the last 3 years have just been incredible. And it really does ground you and bring you back to centre again about how grateful you need to be here in Australia for what we have.
Yeah.
We really don't have any idea what these guys are doing when you're going into the armed forces. You're being brainwashed into a way of following command no matter what.
Yeah.
But the outcome of that is that you'll have to follow a command that doesn't necessarily going to work out for you when you come back home. And the decisions that you've made and the life experiences that you've actually had to have, what these guys are, like, they get thrown back into society.
Yeah.
And it's like,
All right, go figure it out.
yeah, go figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's some of the stuff that they've been through. The stories are incredible. Like, we actually had one, I'll come back to the start of it all, but one of the guys that we had through in the rehearsal one night, he was an ex-trooper, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but he was a driver for Ventura buses for 11 years.
You're right.
And every time a tyre blew out, he thought it was an AED going off.
Oof.
And he literally went into fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it was fight.
Yeah.
And he just literally lost his mind. So imagine that as, like, you've got no idea what people are going through when they're here. Like, I've had heard stories about my uncle screaming at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, from Vietnam. It's just, holy moly, like, where's the help with this? Like, it's just, and obviously with the Rising Sun charity, so the boys had been doing a really good job. They were selling a lot of merch, and I think there was a walk going on from here or there. And,
yeah, you got your cap on.
yeah, got the cap on. I wear it everywhere.
Yeah, nice.
My uncle taught me no matter where you go in life, always wear something branded. If you go to a football club, if you go to something
100%.
a cricket club,
Yeah.
If you want to make friends,
Yeah.
you will find friends if you're wearing something branded because someone will be curious. And yeah, I've never had a lonely day in a pub.
Yeah, right. Nice.
But yeah, so the charity ended up, we're just like, this idea came to my head, and I said to Neil, I go, mate, what do we do? Like, how do we actually get our way, like get you guys out of your own way here and try and, grow the charity?
Because what's the purpose of the charity? Just run through that first, and we'll go back through it.
It's about creating awareness around PTSD.
Yep.
Was the biggest part, and supporting the families. So it's mainly aimed at Iraq, Afghanistan, these guys coming back.
Yeah.
And the families that have somebody that's in their space. So, say for instance, my wife came back from overseas and she was suffering with PTSD.
Yeah.
Living with that is, you can't imagine. It's tough, yeah. So at the moment, the level that we're at, the money that we generate through community events and all that sort of stuff is all about helping pay for the fridge is broken, we'll replace a fridge.
Yeah.
Paying those bills that are there, because at the moment the charity's still trying to find its way through, and obviously through all the red tape. I think I found out recently, now I'm happy to be corrected on this, that 80% of government funding goes through Beyond Blue. So any grants or anything like that goes through Beyond Blue. As I said, I'm happy to be corrected.
I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not sure, but it's really difficult to actually get
any sort of grant.
Yeah, but so what happens is that Beyond Blue is such a ginormous piece of the community that the government's just gone, you feed all the money out.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So we're actually looking for people from Beyond Blue to reach out to. Yeah. So this is only just recent. So if you're there, we want to talk to you.
That's a direct call out.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they all watch my podcast, 100%.
Oh, they will be.
Yes.
There'll be hashtags everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where we're at with the charity at the moment. And I love the beauty of what's happened with it. So yes, we're there to support. But the beauty of the community part of it has been astronomical.
Yeah.
Like just to see people get around it, and it's like, wow, this is, because I'm a massive believer in community. Like, I feel like mental health can be fixed by having
the right community
around you.
100%.
I've got another talk that we do, which is called Choices, which we'll come back to that. But so with the story of the charity so far, with my involvement with it, has been with the learning to sing, and then Neil being able to play guitar. We originally called ourselves the Rising Sun Duo. Yeah. And we're like, well, how about instead of actually auditioning for people or let's just have a charity day where we can just get a bunch of people together and we'll just perform.
Yeah. Awesome.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the big things that I've learnt recently over doing this sort of stuff is wherever energy goes, energy flows. Yeah. And if you put enough energy in the right space, you can create anything exponentially.
Yeah, right.
And we got $20,000 donation from Pepper Money up the front.
Yeah.
So we're only looking to raise $5,000 for the day.
Yeah.
So
and they've just gone
bang, just dropped that on us. It's like, oh, cool.
Thanks.
We set up the merch table. Yeah. We had a whole heap of people donate stuff.
Awesome.
And it was incredible. Like Neil and I had never even set up a stage before. Yeah. So we had no idea how to play live music.
Love that. You're used to just doing it around a campfire.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And so, but by doing that, we also brought in, because we're like, well, how can we fill spaces here? And so I ended up getting a little bit of coaching at that stage from Michelle Freeman Music. Yeah. So we got some of their students to come in.
Oh, awesome.
And so then again, creating community. Yeah. Every Monday night, everybody was coming to the my warehouse.
Yep.
We'd open it up, cheese platters, wine, beer. People would come through and watch us.
Great.
And kids were coming through and practicing and for their time on stage as well.
Yeah.
But the trip was like everybody was in such a great mood at that brewery that day that like it was the noise. I've never heard noise like it. It's like almost like a Collingwood Essendon Anzac Day game.
Yeah, right.
Like when Zaharakis kicked that goal.
Oh,
yeah. Like I watched that highlight the other day.
Yeah.
And just that noise would have been unbelievable.
You a Bombers man? No.
I'm a Cats man, mate.
Ah, that's all right. Nobody's
all the way.
No, I shouldn't say that. Yeah.
But the noise that was going on. Neil was standing directly next to me and I couldn't hear his guitar.
Yeah. Far
that
out.
was the noise and the joy.
Just the excitement.
Just the excitement of everything. And as we've evolved, we've gone to Volume 2 and Volume 3 have both been at the Ironbark Station, which is in Kilsyth, which is, I showed you a video before about wearing a cowboy hat.
Yes.
It's actually in a ranch. So the guys out there have built an old Western frontier world in their backyard.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's right on the back of Eastwood Golf Club.
That's so cool.
So it's unbelievable. Like they've got one of the biggest collections of stagecoaches in Australia down there, just as you do. They've got the Clydesdales there.
Yeah.
Longhorn bulls. What's it? Longhorn cows or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, just to create some momentum around that was like we raised some really good money on the day with Volume 1. And then we're like, oh, what's next? What's next? And the belief that the boys started to see in the charity, it just went, oh, wow, we can actually make a difference here.
Yeah.
And the conversations we're having now are a lot different around, doubling down on what we're doing.
They would be because you're at a whole nother level.
Whole nother level. But
yeah.
Volume 2, it's so interesting when you're putting these things together. So fear comes in and I think the Volume 2 we'd sold 47 tickets.
Yeah.
For a function that we had to have a minimum of 100. And this was a couple 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
And my brain was exploding because everyone's, we're going to pull it. No one's fucking pulling anything, right? This is happening. People will come.
Correct. The people will come, Ray.
Yeah. Kevin Costner. 100%. And in the end, we ended up, it happened. And on that day, after expenses, I think we netted about 47,000 in a day, which was incredible for the guys.
Awesome.
So our band played. We had Michelle's students come across and do that again.
Yep.
We had another band play. We had just stuff everywhere, food trucks. Mate, food trucks, if you want to be a good food truck company, just make sure you show up.
Yeah.
Far out.
The AV guy's nodding his head. Okay, there's a previous experience there.
Yeah, obviously. But, that's probably one of the big pain points of putting together a function like
Getting
that.
people to rock up.
Yeah.
Or getting food trucks to rock up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know with people, like with events, I mean, I've organised a few events in the past and people sometimes leave their booking until like 2 days before.
Yep.
So there's always going to be that last little influx of, oh, that's on Friday. I should probably get my stuff together and buy the ticket. So there's always that little jump at the end, and so you can count on that. But
that happened this year.
Yeah,
like we were like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah,
we sold like 87 family tickets 4 hours before the bloody function.
Correct.
And but I guess that also gives you an insight into what families are going through at the moment, like financially.
100%.
Like
not sure they can do it.
Yeah.
Until right before.
Yeah, 100%. And like there was value coming out of the wazoo this year. Like we had like free laser tag for the kids all day.
Oh, sick. For the kids?
Yeah.
Or could I jump in?
You could jump in if you wanted to.
Love laser tag. Yeah.
But yeah, and look, we still raised we're a little bit less this year than what we thought we were going to get to.
Yeah.
But, in the current climate,
your understanding of that.
We were happy.
Yeah,
really happy with the outcome. So, and it's helping, that all these sorts of things that are coming along. I think the big thing that we'd love to see is, I guess is intergenerational beliefs that happen with the RSLs.
Yeah.
So there's the story as it goes. Now, I'm not a digger.
Yep.
From what I understand is that the World War I, World War II RSL members alienated Korea and Vietnam.
Yeah. It's a different war.
And different war. So, but they were looked down upon.
Yeah.
And from what I understand,
By everybody,
there
not
is a
just
similar
those guys.
feel now from who's in the RSL down to Afghanistan and Iraq guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is quite. Again, I don't live in it.
Yeah.
But apparently it is there.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the main reasons why we exist with the Rising Sun charity.
Yeah.
So, because, anyone that can just put their hand up to help at the end of the day, that's where we keep looking at it. It's
100%.
just like Neil's been through plenty of stuff before, and like the PTSD, I watch it when his mind goes.
Yeah.
And he's not even on this planet.
Yeah.
But
And
then
Neil's
the founder with Chris.
And he's Afghanistan or Iraq?
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, served over there. Yeah. And some of the stuff that they'd seen and the stories, I won't go into it, obviously, because that's his story to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, like there's so much that happened over there that, one of the stories that I'd heard, which was just incredible. Now, I don't know, there was one where the platoon was actually pinned down in a mountain, and then they got up into the gunner's bunker and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, there's a few guys that got cut down up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a heroic story. Yeah, brutal stuff. Yeah, it's like full Saving Private Ryan stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's real life. But
And they've actually done it. Yeah.
just gets pushed to the side.
It's not like the movies.
They don't want to talk about it, which is fine, because they would like not to talk about it. But when they do get together, it's interesting. So, because there's just trauma bonding that goes on, obviously, over there with those guys.
Yeah.
I had an experience the other year of trauma bonding in an SAS CEO retreat.
Yeah, wow.
And I have some sort of empathy, I guess, with what they're going through. But yeah, as I said, it's really difficult.
100%.
So, yeah. So with the charity, we've created a band.
Yeah.
So our band's called the Rising Sun Cover Band.
Awesome.
So we go out there. So it's a full tax deduction to the venues that book us.
Yeah.
Money just goes straight into the charity.
Yeah.
And we come play. We'll do 2 sets. We'll do 3 sets.
Awesome.
We've grown from just a duo to 6 members now.
Great.
We're auditioning new drummers.
So who you got? You've got guitarists, singer.
Yes.
Who else you got?
So we're actually auditioning for new drummers at the moment.
Awesome.
So on the lookout for that.
Call out to any drummers.
Just remember, you got to work for free.
Yeah. They're not interested.
Yeah, they're not interested. But so we've got lead, acoustic, bass, drummer, and then Nicole does the female vocals as well. So she harms under me.
Yeah.
And then she does her own stuff as well. Neil, it's such a dynamic group.
Yeah.
And
do you specialise in any particular genre, covers?
Yeah.
It's mostly Australian stuff, I'm guessing, or do you go everywhere?
One of their favourite songs is, like, Nicole does a great version of Jolene.
Yeah.
Come
Nice.
Together by the Beatles.
Yeah.
And then we'll come into K-San.
Oh, yeah.
All those sorts of ones.
Yeah.
Like, someone actually asked me the other day, so when I was at, so I do breath work and ice baths with these guys down at Listerfield Lake. And one of the questions was, what does freedom feel like?
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, good question.
Mm.
And for me, when you've got the crowd eating out of your hand and you're singing and you just point the microphone back at them and they just sing.
You know the words.
The joy, they're just in the moment. It all just comes together, and the energy and the vibe is just unbelievable. I'm getting tingles just thinking about it. Yeah. But that, for me, like, that's freedom. Like, you can just see everyone's forgotten about what's happened during the week. Everything's happened during the day.
For that few minutes.
Just that few minutes, they're just like straight into
This is it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. How good. How good. No.
So, yeah, we've raised a few shillings now through it, which has been good. But, yeah, we just kept going about it and going about our business. And one of the big things that we found, because most of so Neil's got 2, and the rest of us have got 3 kids each.
Yeah, nice. So it's a big family thing.
Yeah, big family thing.
100%.
But I think the one thing that we forget when bringing up kids is that you can get so lost in actually doing the parenting and doing the running around and doing the bills and doing the job, and that we forget about ourselves along the way.
Yeah.
And so for Monday nights, we all get together, 5 hours. There's nothing other than just creating music together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, cool. And sets you up for the rest of the week.
Yeah, 100%.
Brings a lot of joy. And
yeah.
It's also just that adult conversation too, because, again, by being in community, we can come together. And if you're having a hard week, like one of our guitarists the other day had a friend who found out cancer.
Yeah.
And we did a Tracy Chapman song.
Yeah.
Which gave him, he loves his blues.
Yeah, yeah.
He got his 12 bar in, and you could just see he just got lost in the moment. I was just sitting there smiling at him.
Yeah.
And he did the solo, and we just let him solo.
Yeah.
And it went on for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Like, funny that a lead guitarist and a solo, getting carried away with it. But yeah.
Never happens. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yes, that's a direct taking the piss of me. Yes. But yeah, it was cool. It was good, man. Like, it just
moment when you're
just
there,
a moment. But that's
on
the sort
stage.
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that ultimate
freedom. And
yeah.
it's cool because we were just talking about Stoicism before.
Yeah, yeah.
And
just on the way in, you just casually brought up that, I'm just reading Stoicism. Okay, cool. Good morning.
But, I just bypassed that's all the nice
small talk.
Like, I want to talk about this.
Marcus Aurelius. Like, okay, cool.
But yeah, but doing the hard stuff. And we had a function the other year where shit just didn't work the way it was supposed to. There was a death on the Westgate car accident, and we got booked for a gig to do 6 songs and then a 2-song thing.
Yeah.
So we did that. Everything was dragging out. First set, we were there for the pre-drinks. We played the 6 songs twice.
Yeah.
We haven't got anything else ready to go yet.
Correct. Listen, there's 6 songs.
There's 6 songs, and then we did the middle part. And then the DJ had double booked himself.
Oh, no. So he wasn't there. So we're going to do the 6 songs again.
So then we had to finish.
Oh, no.
And the guys are like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we'll give it a crack.
I'm going to play the same 6 songs again.
We had a couple more up there.
Oh, good.
We had a couple more. But it was, again, going through what we went through. We were getting abused by the crowd because everyone had a gut full of piss.
Yeah.
We weren't playing the music they wanted to. But I'm like, no, we'll just keep pushing through here. And the guys were like, this is shit. Like, you could feel it.
Oh, it sucks.
But the beauty of it and pushing through that and experiencing it, all of a sudden, everybody doubled down on taking it seriously, and we had a lot of accountability around rehearsal now.
Yeah.
And then
build the repertoire.
Bang. We played the Ringwood RSL the other year before Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was a couple of months after that one, and it was tight.
Yeah.
Like, it was
everything worked.
Yeah, everything worked. Yeah. So
awesome.
Sometimes you just need to go through that shitty little period.
Yeah.
Just to
and know that you still created community because everyone was hating on you together. Like you were still creating that community feel.
Touche. Never thought about it that way.
That's the only way to think about it. You got to find the positive. You created that community feel where they're all just like, these guys suck.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they forgot their own arguments. They just all lined up against you.
100%. 100%. It was bloody brilliant. So, and look, that's where we've done that. One of the other things that are other charities that I'm working with is Empowered Women in Trades.
Yep.
So, one of my best friends, Haisha, she's on a mission like this. You've never seen anybody just get out of my way. I'm coming through.
Yep.
She's looking to, I think we're at 3% women trade.
Yep.
Australia-wide. And correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, Haisha, but I'm pretty sure she wants to get to 20%.
Okay.
So,
how do you do that?
Mate.
Because there's got to be uptake. Like, and this is obviously we're jumping back to the military here.
Yeah, of course.
I've got a couple of mates that applied for the military, and they told me So don't know if this is 100% true because they had a couple of beers, but they weren't accepted by the military because there hadn't been enough female recruits because they were doing that quota system and that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's
Funny
a
that.
quota system.
We've got a quota system here in Victoria too.
Yeah. So where's that uptake going to come from? Obviously, there are women in trades, 100%.
Yep.
But do you think it's going to be large enough to take that 20%? How? How is it?
I don't know
sort of
where
my
it's going to
question.
come from, eh?
Yeah.
So we go along to schools.
Yep.
And we run programs for year 8, 9 and 10
Yep.
females.
Yep.
And it's all about creating a perspective of you don't necessarily need to go to uni, you don't have to go into beauty, you don't have to go hair.
Yeah.
Here's a trade. What do you think? And I get a lot of fulfillment out of it because you can see their brains ticking over.
Well, correct, because they've been going through school and they've just been told, uni's the pathway, uni's the pathway, uni's the pathway. And then it's like, ooh, hello.
Oh, what's this?
We might be able to do some fun stuff.
Mate, if we had this when we were kids, like, it would have been, well, I shouldn't say when we were kids, I'm half your age. So.
Yeah. No, I'm half your age. I know I act like an old man, but yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah.
That they are, just to watch it and the conversations that we can have around the kids and watching. I don't want to come across as ungrateful here, but you've got a lot of student advisors in there that have been in the system. So
Correct.
at the schools,
Yep.
so they only understand the system.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's the breakout? Like
100%.
where are you going to change the narrative with that?
I was really lucky when I was going through. I had a really good careers advisor. His name was Adrian.
Yep.
And he was like totally aware of where his shortcomings were, and he'd be open to discussions around alternative career paths. And it was the greatest thing ever because I'd be like, oh, what about XYZ? And he goes, yeah, 100%. I don't know anything about that. Here's someone that does know about it. I'll put you in touch. And so he was great at sort of that hand pass to put you onto somebody who did know about trades, etc. I never looked at trades, but my brother did. And, you know, he was...
Why didn't you look at trades?
I didn't look at trades because I'm someone who talks a lot of shit.
That's not true.
No, not at all. No, it never really interested me. I'm more about, other ways of doing business. I'm big on finding out how things are monetized and how business models work. I'm interested in being the top down, sort of look at it from above and figure out how things all go together. So trades never really appealed to me because I didn't know that much about it.
Yeah, man.
Being sort of kind of in the trade industry now, working with trades and understanding that each of them run their own business, as it were, it's a totally different world. But I just didn't know. There wasn't any awareness, so I never really looked at it.
Yep.
And these hands are not tradie hands.
I said the same thing. I've still managed to keep mine very soft.
Oh, good. Okay. So electrician's the way to go then.
100%.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah, I think it was just a lack of awareness. I didn't, and that's obviously what you're talking about is there isn't an awareness around alternative career paths.
100%. Yep. Yeah. And that, like one of the beautiful stories that we had from last year, I went and did a presentation with the girls at, I want to say it was in Dever Hills.
Yeah.
And just to be able to connect. So basically what I do is I go along and get them just a strip cable.
Yeah.
So I take shitty pliers. It's a shit experience.
Yeah.
But for those that stick with it,
Yeah.
and I want to know how to do this, and I'll give them the good pliers later on so that they can actually strip the cable properly. I'll actually give them extension lead cord to strip as well.
Yeah, wow.
And I tell them that's the easy one because people will believe what they're
Of course.
told.
What they're told by the expert.
Until you find out for yourself that that's not true.
Yeah.
So this is what the whole point of it is. It's just like you need to go and experience this.
I'm going to make you have the hardest job possible and tell you it's easy. So then when you do it, everything's easy.
100%.
Yeah.
So I do that with everyone.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, it's always a fail.
They don't listen.
No, but it's a fail first attitude everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and that's not in a lot of places because it's snappy, got to get done. Rah. If you haven't done this, why?
Yeah, we're going to take the time to
far out.
let you
How
fail.
else do you actually experience empathy? You can't create empathy without actually experiencing something.
Correct.
So, as we went around the room, what do you want to do? Oh, no, I'm not sure. Cool. think about it. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm coming back to you.
Yeah.
So you're going to answer this question whether you like it or not. Oh, wow. Okay. Get around the room.
I don't like this
And I remember this one girl who was in the right-hand corner, and she said she wanted to be an aeronautic engineer.
Yeah.
And the guidance counsellor's jaw hit the... What?
Yeah.
Well, you never asked me. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But that's been... It doesn't matter where we go, we can connect.
100%.
And that's what it's all about. It's just giving them something where they can... There will be success but at the end of it, but you're going to have to go through the hard stuff to start with.
Yeah.
Stoicism again.
Yeah. Thanks, Marcus.
Sorry, it is very front of mind. But yeah, it's just removing the beliefs of what's going on in schools at the moment, what you think society and your parents want you to do.
But you think that'd be the first question from the careers advisor. What do you want to do? You'd think that he should know that.
Yeah. I love the thought process of it all because, holy moly, it is. You could be anything you want to be, but we're so distracted by all the bright, shiny stuff over here. It's what do you want?
100%.
What do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I guess that's the joy and fulfillment that I get from that is just like I want to show you something different.
100%.
You choose to walk that path or not.
It was really funny. My dad and I did a careers thing where we'd go off to all the different universities and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like, it's okay. And Dad would be really interested, and he'd go, like, read all of it. And I'm like, do you want to go back to uni? He goes, oh, maybe. He got more interested in the career stuff than I did, like going to the engineering departments and all this other stuff, reading the course flyers and all that stuff. He's...
I wonder whether your dad actually had that in the back of his mind, that there was that regret that he maybe never got to do that.
Maybe. But it was all sorts of stuff. Like, it was engineering for one second, then it was civil construction, then it was like any career path that we sort of sat down in front of. Architecture, briefly, he read through it. He was like, oh, this is really cool. And I don't know if he was doing it to get me excited about it or whether he was genuinely interested. I think he was genuinely interested.
Yeah.
So it was, just really funny how I'm just sort of like, yeah, this is okay. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's commerce, that sort of stuff. And then he's like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Just like going to the lectures, dragging me along with him. So it was...
I haven't never done the uni, so I can't. My eldest son at the moment, he's looking at scholarships. So since he was in year 7, year 8, I think when he made his first rep basketball team, he's like, I'm going overseas.
Yeah.
And I remember at my 40th, he actually said that on stage, and I'm like, well,
you're committed now.
This kid's going to do stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to do something.
He's got his heart set on it.
Even the conversation we had the other day around, like, he talked about Rome, and I'm like, why would you want to study in Rome? And he goes...
Referencing Marcus Aurelius again.
No, but it was... He goes, the cost of living's less than Australia, so you're going to get more value for money.
That's insane.
And I'm like, you're 17 and telling me that?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, he's in that generation that's looking at it now where housing is enormously unaffordable to a lot of people. And... I get the ads on Facebook as well when I'm scrolling through and, there's a villa in Tuscany, 6 bedrooms, a pool and 200 acres for €90,000. And I'm like, I could do that.
But you have to live there for 3 years,
It's
I think.
very hard to do the podcast from there, but work it out.
Of course we would.
I'd have to learn Italian, but I'd have to work it out. It's pretty cool. Like, beautiful old building.
Yeah.
And it's this gorgeous, on the top of a hill, overlooking vineyards. Awesome. I think anyone would like that. And it's €90,000.
So good.
Oh, far out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we don't know what we don't know.
Sign me up. I don't know what the issues would be.
I grew up in Vanuatu. So
yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
So Dad got transferred with the bank. So originally, from what Mum was telling me the other week, they were going to have a shotgun wedding because that opportunity came up to go to Papua.
Yeah, right.
And they just couldn't get the paperwork done in time back in, it was before I was born, 70-something.
Yeah.
And the next opportunity came up and Dad got a gig in Vanuatu.
Yeah, right.
So we uplifted and
off
we went. And yeah, it was such a strange...
And how was that? Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So when I came back to Australia, I'd never worn shoes.
Yeah.
never seen AFL football, VFL football, never seen cricket.
Yep.
I'd probably seen it, but it was never in my realm.
No. Yeah.
There was no TV, free-to-air TV, so it was only the videos that my nan and pop would post.
Wow.
There was one radio station, Radio Vila,
Yeah.
and it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Just some of the stuff that went on. Cool. And, yeah, it's...
Because how big was the island that you were on?
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Are you walk across it in a day or two? Or
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they had a 9-hole golf course. I used to play that with Dad all the time.
Wow.
There was a lot of volleyball, soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just there wasn't a lot of white kids in school.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if that's the right thing to say or not, or whatever. It is what it is. But all my friends it was just beautiful. We'd just play everywhere.
Mm.
So the bank gave, it's not like, well, we don't come from money, but the bank gave us a nanny, a gardener, cleaner.
Guess they make it worth your while.
I remember, but I remember when we had a cyclone. So where I would go and play would be in the villages.
Yeah,
that's where I'd go after school.
Yeah,
so because Mum would be off playing mahjong, drinking gin with her friends.
Yeah,
and Dad would be probably playing golf.
Yeah,
living the dream. But
how good's that?
Oh, I know.
That's so sick. Yeah,
it was a different life.
Go play in the village. Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
100%.
So what happened with the cyclone?
Well, we ended up. So I think my mum and my brother came back to Australia, and then Dad and I settled in, and we were up taping up all the windows, boarding up all the windows, and all that sort of stuff. And we brought the families of the cleaner, gardener, and they all came and stayed with us.
Yeah, awesome.
So it was like a cyclone party. Cyclone parties are grouse fun. So when you go into Queensland, you do a cyclone party.
Yeah, especially
around Australia Day.
Yeah,
they're a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah, right.
Because get the generator rolling out the back as the power goes out, and that was good times back then. And even just and every day, me and my brother would go to school.
Yeah,
we'd always be on the back of the truck. So no seatbelts.
Yeah,
like just standing up on the back of the tray. Well, it was just grouse.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to Australia, I was definitely not a fit here.
Totally different world.
Totally different world. I eventually, primary school was all good, but then high school I got eaten alive in high school.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was just different. I wasn't...
You weren't used to it.
Yeah. 100%. Because we were growing up in a community where everybody was kind to one another.
Yeah.
There was no social hierarchy or the ladder of popularity.
Wouldn't have been big
No
enough.
such thing.
Yeah.
It was just like everybody got along.
Yeah. Because you had to, because you are so close together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. I remember one of the houses that we lived in over there, there was an overgrown grass. It was just grass.
Yeah.
It was like really long grass. And there was a crackling going on. There was a huge... someone had set it all alight.
Oh.
Yeah, so the couple of fire trucks that they had involved, all the neighbours are out there with the hose, and I was still a kid back then, but I don't know why that just popped in. I haven't thought about that for ages.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. That's what I'm saying. That you don't know what the potential is unless you step out of it.
100%.
And that was the gift that my parents gave me and my brother growing up, is that we had that, and then when you come back to Australia, you can always default back to what that life was like.
Yeah, correct.
Because I came from, TV wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Music was a massive thing.
Of course.
It was everywhere there was music.
Well, in those island communities, it is so much more important, there's music, and you get the church groups and stuff when they're all performing together, and like at the Olympics, a lot of the island nations do singing in the Olympic villages. And there was so many videos around that where I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Samoa. They were singing, and everyone else in the athletes' village was like, "What is that? That's so cool!" So music's huge.
It was huge. Even I always used to laugh because the P&O would always come in.
Yeah,
and that was a big event.
Yeah,
like back in the oh my God, the Fair Star's coming.
No, sick.
And me and my brother used to get all excited.
Yeah,
no trains over there.
No, correct.
There's probably one or two buses.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just a different life.
Yeah,
and so then we moved back, and I went to Chelsea Primary for a little bit.
Yeah.
And do you know the beauty of how life can work out? I'll never forget. So the teacher that I had at Chelsea Primary,
Yeah.
my God, yelled and screamed like a harpy.
Yeah.
She was unbelievable.
Fun. Yeah.
And as life would have it, I was being an electrician.
Oh, no.
This is years on.
Oh, no.
She ended up being the principal of a school that I was doing work for.
Hello again.
I remember you.
Oh,
And
no.
it just came straight out. I
Yeah.
said, you were horrible.
Yeah.
And she's like, I said, Chelsea Primary. You taught at Chelsea Primary, didn't you? I said, I cried every day walking to school.
Yeah.
I said, I was so fearful of you. And she's like, yeah, I was going through a lot back then.
As if that justifies it.
I get it.
Yeah, but also you don't take that on kids.
You don't take it out on the kids, but that was the old way as well. There
Of
was
course.
a lot of yelling and screaming. And,
Yeah.
I mean, our parents, well, probably not your parents, but my parents were, they used to catch the strap.
Mm.
Get
Yeah.
whacked. So, but that always comes back to you never know what's going on with somebody.
Mm. Of course.
You never know. Someone's always
Well,
got
as a
something.
kid, are you expected to know? Probably not.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not trying to justify our actions.
No, but
yeah, it was something else. So then, anyway, moved along, and this is the one thing that I do tell. I like to tell the kids when we're talking with EWIT.
yeah.
Is I had 13 jobs out of high school before I became an
Yeah, right.
electrician. Just keep
Run
kicking
through 'em.
keep kicking the stones over until you find something that you like.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So Baker. What else?
Was it Macca's?
Yeah.
Was it printer?
Boy too.
Did a bit of graphic design.
Yeah, nice.
Fixed vending machines.
Yeah.
Like it was just all sorts of stuff that was in there. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it was never really anything that set my soul on fire.
Mm.
And then you jump into this, and then you look at the evolution of everything that can come of something that you, when you're passionate about it,
100%.
and your passion just rubs off on everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it gets pushed down in society a little bit. Like,
You're doing business for the right reasons.
yeah,
You sort of attract the right people.
yeah, 100%. So that's all a bit of fun. But
Yeah.
I said, like, where it's all heading at the moment, who knows?
Mm.
Business is harder than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like, that's
And why
100%.
do you think that is?
Oh, the cost of everything, mate.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Mm.
You just can't catch it. In business, I mean, what was it? We had with COVID,
Yep.
from what I believe,
Yep.
the work cover is broke.
Yeah.
So they pay it out on every mental health thing going around.
Mm.
Who's the people that are paying for it now? Small business.
Yeah.
So we went, it was like triple the work
Far
cover
out.
costs in 1 year.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the hell are we supposed to?
Yeah. You haven't
We
accounted for
can't
that.
put that on. Yeah,
No.
haven't accounted for it. And there's all sorts of stuff that's going through there at the moment. It's getting, higher wages for lower unemployment or whatever it is, the minimum wage.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then more days off, public holidays. Like all these things all account for business, and it's crazy.
It's business that has to pay for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but it's momentum. So in business, we're always looking for momentum.
Yeah.
So at Christmas time, we have, well, at the moment, it feels like in Victoria, everything stops on around the 20th.
Yeah.
And then nobody's back until after Australia Day.
Yeah,
So small
100%.
business has to capture as much money as possible before Christmas to pay for that period.
Of course.
So then you get back into
Because
it.
that's a losing period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's slow.
Mm.
So then it's like, okay, go. You've got a little bit of momentum. Labor Day.
Yeah. Yay.
A little bit. And so this break that's actually happening now,
Yeah.
school holidays,
Easter and
this has frightened me since last October.
yeah.
Because the reality is you've got Christmas that everybody's just paying off,
Yeah.
or if not just paid off.
Yeah.
This isn't just a normal school holiday break. This is first week school holidays, Easter. You're going to have RDOs in there.
Yeah.
There's no productivity happening Easter week.
No.
Then you've got Anzac Day.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it turns into a 2-week school holiday. It's
Yeah.
almost 3.5.
Yeah.
the productivity goes. So it's another Christmas all of a sudden on top of people.
And then coming back from that.
Mate, and businesses, like the amount of business owners that call me, rock up at the doorstep, just want to have a beer, have a chat, in tears.
Yeah.
Just broken.
Because they don't know how they're going to get through.
No. It's like, what's next for them? So, yeah.
Government's really the one to come save the small business owner.
I don't think we're a priority, mate.
No.
No, at all. I think, there's $57 billion worth of ATO debt sitting there at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is small business moving. So from what I understand, with inflation, is that they want people to lose their homes. So, but small business owners are pushing all their financial difficulties onto the ATO.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, yes.
Yeah.
But from what I understand is Albo's...
But better that than lose their home.
Yeah, I know, right? But Albo's committed another $1 billion this next budget, I think it was, or Chalmers did.
Yeah.
To recoup that. They're coming.
Yeah.
And they said that at the start of July last year.
Imagine
they're coming.
In a cost of living period, they're going after the little guy first through the ATO. Like, that's bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far
mate,
out.
it's
Yeah.
And they wonder why suicide's so high. You know, drinking like what is it? Whenever we're in a recession, pokies go through the roof.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Domestic violence.
Yeah.
So it all coincides with
Gets
all
ugly.
of that. Yeah, it does.
ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the next answer is. You and I have spoken about, running for a seat at some stage.
Yeah.
But something that does tickle my fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when you do open this conversation to people and they're always open to it. But then you hear the story of, I've got a few skeletons in my closet that I don't really need to be used.
Or, you've said something that someone finds offensive years ago or ages ago, and then all of a sudden it's, you can't. Like this Ben Britton guy up in New South Wales, he talked about, he was, he's a veteran,
and
he was talking about how women, he was, and I want to word this correctly, he was cautious about women in combat roles because he was worried about their strength versus the strength of the average bloke.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't even I'm anti-women in combat roles. It was just a statement that he made, which, wasn't too controversial, but the media just whipped up this firestorm and all of a sudden he's disendorsed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. So there's so many good people that would give public life a go, but because it's so treacherous and horrid and dangerous and, your reputation's on the line, that they don't necessarily want to give it a go.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And that's terrible.
That's not what we live in.
No, correct. Because then the very next thing they'll see the leaders debate that was on the other night. They'll be like, "Is this all we have?" And then, well, we've got better, but they don't want to do it.
I saw a meme this morning with the Albo and Dutton.
Yeah,
and a little caption on the chaser. This should have been an email. What is it? The debate that should have been an email.
I think I was one of like the 3 Australians that watched it. Like there wasn't very little promotion around it. And I don't think anyone really changed their minds. It just wasn't particularly.
The thing that disappoints me with this, I was really looking forward to this election.
Yeah,
because for some reason I thought that the mudslinging would actually get pushed aside, but it just goes to show that this country has no idea what direction to go in.
Yeah, and that's. Not great.
There's no policies. There's nothing out there. Like, what do you fucking stand for?
Yeah.
That's all we're looking for. Like, show us that you actually care about
have some gumption,
the actual community, and not actually about your own back pockets and the people that fund you.
Yeah.
Because that's where it just keeps coming back to with us. We're all cynical about it now. And with Trump doing what Trumpy's doing overseas at the moment, I've never watched so much political stuff before in my life. Like,
no.
Like Daniel Andrews probably takes the cake.
Yeah.
With how much we consume with Daniel, but
because it was forced.
It was forced. Yeah.
If you want to know what's going on, you listen to that press conference.
I actually stumbled onto his Instagram account the other day, and I actually scrolled back, and I'm like, wow, this guy,
Talking about PTSD.
this guy actually believed his own bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't want to go down that one, but he look politically. You and I actually spoke about this the other day.
Yeah.
I actually sat on it, and yes, he will be remembered as the politician of the century because he's made some of the most incredible moves.
Yeah.
That has literally made it. This state's not going to be anything other than Labor for the next at least decade.
A little while, yeah.
Yeah.
It's certainly made his mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the observations that you listen to people in America and their take on American politics at the moment, that Trump's created a monarch. Well, the Democrats did that themselves.
Yeah.
But how are we not living that already in Victoria? There's no opposition here.
Well, no one's calling it a monarchy because that's ridiculous. But yeah, it's
But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
That's the frame that
that they're putting it in.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when one side is hugely more popular, Trump was the first Republican to win the popular vote since I think Bush did his first time round.
Okay.
So it's a long time that, and every election
What's
since.
popular vote mean?
Popular vote. So they've got the Electoral College, which is how they choose the president, which is the number of states. Each state has a certain number of Electoral College votes.
Sure.
And this is to ensure that the president can't win by just pandering to California and New York and maybe Texas, the three largest states. They have to listen to Ohio. They have to listen to Montana. Because each of them have this allocation, and you need to get 270 to win.
Okay.
So that's how the presidency is decided. So throughout all of America's history, that's how they've done it. The popular vote is just the number of votes for or against. Because obviously there's still a few million Republican voters in California, but all of California's Electoral College votes will go Democrat because there are more Democrats in that state.
Yeah, of course.
And so across the board, Trump won the popular vote. There were more Americans that voted for Trump than voted for Kamala. And yes, he only won one more state than he did in 2016.
Yep.
But he didn't win the popular vote that time.
Gotcha.
And so Trump, and it was great what you were saying about engagement, because Trump has led to this era of being more politically engaged because everyone has to pay attention to this. And this is the thing about America. They've got voluntary voting, so you have to listen to learn, and you've got to listen if you want to be aware of who to vote for.
Yeah, 100%.
And the politicians need to be out there to get you to go out and vote, because otherwise you'll just stay home.
Yep.
You won't do it. If you don't care, like so many people here, then you won't vote. Whereas it's totally different here. It's everyone's compelled to, so we're like, eh.
And that's even listening to my son and his girlfriend at the moment about they're turning 18.
Yeah.
They're talking about, we're not going to vote. And it's like, no,
you don't have to.
You have to.
Yeah, you'll get fined.
The amount of no, they're just saying donkey votes.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't. I just don't. Your vote does matter.
100%.
100%.
Well, you look at, and I always go back to this one because it's the one in most recent memory that I can think of. Fairfax in Queensland elected Clive Palmer to the lower house. So it was a big deal to vote a minor party in the lower house. And he won that race against a Liberal by 14 votes.
Wow.
And there was like a 3% informal vote count. So if all those people had voted, could have been a different result.
Yeah.
14 votes. And I think the smallest margin was like 6 in a seat. And that was ages ago. But Fairfax is the most recent example. And Clive had many, many millions to spend on the election, and, more power to him. He ran and won. Good job.
Yeah.
But it was 14 votes that decided Fairfax.
Wow.
So people that they're like, I don't really care. It's like, well, your decision can change the course of the nation. Obviously that seat didn't really matter because it was, he didn't form government. But when the party can form government on one seat or not, it's a big deal.
Massive, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy moly. That just blows my mind on how, that all works.
It's insane.
And it's the religion politics conversation where it's okay to, and I'm guilty of baiting people on elbows. I got called a window licker the other day.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just throw grenades into
just
social
throw
media
grenades
comments
in there and
section.
see what comes back. But it was, like, it's okay to talk about this stuff
Yeah.
because you might actually learn something. You don't have to hide away from it because we get so charged from it. And the majority of the time, these aren't even beliefs that we believe in. It's just indoctrinated beliefs that we've picked up along the way, tribal, 100%. It's like footy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, footy's different. It's justified to be tribal in footy, just so we're all aware.
Yeah,
But in
100%.
politics, definitely not.
Yeah, but it's, you know, again, my parents, dad used to be out there handing the leaflets out for the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
I had no other way of seeing anything other than blue.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, learned to listen a lot more and pay attention, see what people are actually presenting with their, and I can absolutely see the side of what the Labor stand for, or
100%.
potentially used to stand for.
Yeah.
This is part of the Greens. I
Yeah.
get it. I get the whole overarching picture.
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing, you can take policies from each.
yeah,
Doesn't mean you're going to vote for them. I'm a big fan of preserving the environment. Doesn't mean I'll vote for the Greens.
when was the last? Yeah. When was the last time you reckon that state or federal that the two parties actually work together to make our country great again? Trumpy. But I'm just curious because
they've been oppositional for so long. It was probably before my time. I mean, they have come together for some bipartisan bills, but they've not really been game changers.
no.
And they've not really been, for the good of the country, I don't think. And so it's been a long time. I think if you want to go back to prime ministers that definitely sort of broke the rules a little bit, you'd go back as far as Hawke.
Yep.
For when, he deregistered a union, that's, his traditional base. He was quite happy to upset the base for the right reasons and doing the right economic reforms that were good for the country.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the last example that I can think of. And I don't even think the Liberals came to the party on that. I'm not sure. I don't know. It didn't exist. And it was just that was probably the last example that I could think of.
Yeah.
But they've been so oppositional. And this is the thing. Like, you've got Labor now pushing for tax cuts for everybody and the Liberals disagreeing with that. And that was odd for me because that's like, I thought the Liberals were the party of the tax cut and, lower taxes and that sort of stuff. And so they're oppositional for the sake of it. They're oppositional to make sure that the other guy doesn't get a win. It's like, I think the people would be refreshed if, Labor came out with a good policy and the Liberals were like,
100% agree with you.
Yeah, correct.
That is for the benefit of the country.
That fits into our wheelhouse. If it's a tax cut, 100%, go for it.
Yeah.
That's good. In fact, go further.
Yeah. You would actually probably
You get props.
You'd get props, but you'd actually get credibility.
100%.
Because at the moment, everybody that is in state and federal,
there's no principle.
There is no credibility in at all. And
because they're not consistent.
Yeah. If you want to actually get the community to come and believe in you, work together.
Yeah.
Because we're looking for leadership. The whole country at the moment is dying for someone to stand up and say, we've got this.
Yeah.
These guys are on board with us. We're going to push forward.
Yeah. Just to have that leadership and just to be like, yeah, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But but look, as going back to the kids, like it's how do you get them engaged with it? It's like,
well, there needs to be a thought out plan. How can we ease the cost of living? How can we get you into a home? Because that's something that they mentioned that they're interested in.
Yep.
Owning a home it's the Australian dream. It's the basic thing that everyone wants. You want to be able to own a home. You want to be able to, go on holidays. You want to be able to buy the jet ski. You want to be able to have a decent life. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Most people are just happy, doing the family thing and going to work and going through to retirement. And that's it.
That's okay.
A couple of massive holidays here and there because they can afford to. But aside from that, it doesn't have to be, extravagant.
Yeah.
A party needs to come out and say, this is how we're going to achieve that.
Yep.
And no, they haven't.
They don't know how to. No. Yeah.
Because it would upset, the order of things. Right now it's, a bit too hard.
I love that you just said the Australian dream.
Yeah.
So I've got this cynicism in that, is that I'm going to go get myself into financial debt for 30 years.
Yeah.
And, work the job that I have to make sure that I'm living the Australian dream. And it's like, we got sold down the river with that years ago. Like,
Yeah, I get that. But, part of the... And this is going to be a fairly different policy discussion. But, a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage wasn't out of the realm of possibility previously. You lock in, say, buy a house in 2021, interest rates are 2.67%. You lock that in for 30 years.
Go for it. Wow, right.
How good?
That?
How good? Because then it's only ever going to be this much. You
Yep.
pay it off after 30 years, you're done.
Yep.
Any extra money that you get, any extra, bonuses, your pay goes up, whatever, you can spend that on the holiday. How good would that be? For most people that just want to get that one house and live in it,
Yeah.
that's the perfect product. But the banks don't want to do that.
No. I love the train of thought you just went down with that, because community at the moment is actually a lot harder to bring together because people are working second jobs.
Correct. They have to.
So it's just almost like the penny just dropped. So the RSLs at the moment are dying.
Yeah.
Because the volunteers are dying.
Yeah.
Because of age.
Well, and this is something that I didn't know until very recently. You can join the RSL if you're related to a service member.
Correct.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Marketing, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
There's no budget for marketing, but like that awareness.
How can you contribute to society, or to community and to society in a volunteer space?
Yeah.
When you're working two jobs.
Oh, 100%. There's no extra room to donate to charity if you've got no extra money in the bank.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is the thing. We need to be willing to put all these different creative options on the table instead of just, yes, we'll do a 25% cut here and we'll do this there. And it's like this stuff around the edges. If we go to the core of the issue and we say, let's consider a 30-year fixed rate mortgage product.
Yeah.
And depending on which party you're in, that may be completely antithetical to what you believe. But if that product's there, people that just want to buy one home and just want to live the Australian dream at 2.67% or whatever the interest rate is, they can do that. They're locked in. They're set. And chances are they'll still sell their house and they'll upsize and they'll do that sort of stuff. But it just means that they can, if they wish, buy that house, lock it in, have a family, do that thing.
That's cool.
And it's there forever.
Yeah.
And they know that they can afford it because if they buy it here, chances are your income's going to go up.
That's just, okay, move down the next step. How many $1 trillion of inheritance is about to be passed on from the boomers? Is it 3?
Well, there's a big wealth transfer coming.
Yes.
But I think if we were to, instead of, doing the cheap thing and putting a death tax on, if you were to, say, remove stamp duty, which was supposed to be temporary, I believe, and make it easier for them to sell their homes without this extra cost. It can cost up to $100,000 to transfer a property. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
If you make it easier for these people to sell without that massive tax hit, instead of a tax of $100,000, you just whack it into super tax-free or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If they're about to retire, it's an old couple living in a big house because they had their family there and they've now moved on.
Yeah.
To make it easy for those people to sell to people that need it, there's that transfer, and it's happening already.
I'll throw this out.
Go on.
So there is a belief system out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So with that generational wealth moving through, now we talk about, it's a talking point of we don't need to, we can't buy a home.
Yeah.
But there is a belief out there, and I've heard it multiple times, why should I try when I'm only going to get an inheritance from mum and dad later on?
Well, do you really want to be waiting for your parents to die to start your life?
But this is the thing. They're living their life.
Yeah.
They're living their life. They're travelling. They're not worried about saving for a house because eventually the revenue's going to come.
Yeah.
And they can go about their business.
Sure. If that's how they want to live.
Yeah.
I'd prefer a little bit of security.
Same.
But, and this is the thing, it's got to be
gap
free.
With the kids. Is this because we've been brought up in a belief system that the Aussie dream is about buying a home.
Yeah.
So who's to say these guys aren't right? Who knows? Who's to say that why go and work, you ring out 70, 80 hours a week to pay for your home and
Yeah.
mortgage. I'm just throwing that out there.
No,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Because it's just like, if that's a belief system that is coming through with the new generation, who's to say they're wrong?
Well, then they should be comfortable with rent increases and everything else that goes along with not owning a home. You can choose. It's choose your own adventure. We're only on this rock.
Now you're talking my talk.
Yeah, correct. We're only on this rock for a certain amount of time. If you want to spend most of that time waiting for your parents to die so you can eventually get their place, sure, do that. That's not what I want, and I don't think that's what the majority of Australians want. I think they want the opportunity to be able to go build a home even.
Yeah.
And, be able to afford that life. And I think genuinely most people do want that.
Oh, look, and we know that, to save for that house, I was quite lucky. I'd saved I was living with Mel's parents for about 18 months. We had Jake.
Yeah.
And I bought my first Tats Lotto ticket.
Yeah.
Up in Yarrawonga.
Yeah, nice.
And I just folded it up, put it in my wallet, forgot all about it.
Yeah.
And then checked it Australia Day down at Canterbury Gardens down Kilsyth Fair. And the machine started going off. And I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. Lo and behold, the old mate goes, oh, I can't pay it here. And I said, what do you mean you can't pay it here? What, you've got $50 on you? He goes, you won second division on the New Year's draw. And I said, oh, yeah, tell me about that. And he goes, yeah, it's about $13,000, $14,000. And I went, fucking ripper.
You beauty. How good.
Lo and behold, March, I was in my first house.
There you go.
Yeah.
Far out.
Sometimes people do rub my belly for a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Because it does pop up from time to time.
Hey, Buddha. Yep. You're right.
But yeah, so that was like, I'd worked my ring out for years to get that deposit. And, that was just 2009. By the time we actually moved in, and Jake was born in 2007. So it's, geez, that feeling of buying your first house, though.
Yeah.
It's
a great feeling.
Yeah. It was just nice to have the universe just give us a little leg up.
Yeah, 100%.
To sort of
just
get going.
A little help. Yeah.
And that comes back to all great things are on the back of a sweat.
Yeah. Going through the hard stuff.
Through the hard stuff. So
yeah. Shout out Marcus Aurelius.
Yes. Yeah. And
thank you, random Roman dude.
I think that was one of the things that you can take away from COVID. A lot of people, and there's probably still suffering going on, but the blessing of COVID was probably one of the most difficult things that our community will go through. On the backside of it, you probably learn to be more grateful for the people that you love. You probably tried stuff that you've never tried before. I can't speak for those that are obviously living in the single home, but we found ways. Like, you can't tell me people didn't find ways to make it work for themselves.
I remember there was this app that we downloaded. I can't remember what we called, but it was a family FaceTime thing.
Yep.
And so all the family would just jump on and we'd play board games or we'd chat.
Trivia night on Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we figured it out.
Fun. Yeah.
I was going stir crazy just looking at people through a screen, but it was good.
I had to laugh. Do you know those TENS machines? So it's like a machine that pulsates just to sort of release muscles.
Yeah.
So with the trivia night, Melissa and I actually hooked the TENS machine up to one another for every wrong question. So if she got the question wrong,
get a buzz. That's awesome.
So everybody's on the other line just pissing themselves laughing.
Because you guys are getting zapped.
You two idiots doing it up to.
It's so good.
That was good fun.
Yeah.
But but again, we did bobbing for apples there when you pinned the tail on Steph Curry and that.
Yeah, right.
That was
you had fun.
Yeah, we had fun doing that, and even the school stuff that the kids did, like.
Well, my brother was going through year 11 and 12 during COVID.
Wow.
And
that would have been intense.
Like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like there was no year 12, there was no real year 12 breakup.
Yeah.
Because it was right in the middle of COVID. And, trying to learn and do the tests and do everything normally at the best of times is difficult.
Correct.
Having to do it from home, there's a level of discipline that not a lot of these kids had.
Yeah.
That, sit in front of your screen and do the work.
Yep.
They're not mature enough. They're not, developed enough to do that. Some of them were 100%. Some of them had parents that were very hard on them. But, a lot of these kids probably did struggle with that period 100%. And I feel like they've, not forever, but they've definitely been disadvantaged.
Yeah. My power went out, all my love and power went out to the mums and teachers that were doing homeschooling with kids, teaching class, working, like, my God. Like, and I'm not saying that the dads didn't do their fair share, but holy moly, some of the
Tough
stuff.
times.
Like, we work in schools.
Yeah.
Like, we do maintenance in schools and all that sort of stuff. And I get to have a yarn with them all the time. So I've either doing stuff for EWIT or I'm doing other talks for myself, which they get me in independently to come and talk to the year 11 and 12 kids.
Yeah.
You know, man? And it's, it's a beautiful... the learning from it, I guess, at the end of the day, is just, there was a lot that went on, and the people still haven't recovered from it.
No.
At all.
And there's all these terrible stories about these kids that, because they're used to people being behind a mask, they don't read people's faces, or they've got this developmental thing where they can't, like, they're not as good at reading facial expressions, and
they miss that part.
Yeah, they miss that development. It's like, oh, that's something we didn't think about. And that's something that everyone goes
hindsight.
through. Yeah. It's like far out. It's this whole period of just, it was an insane time. It was really tough for a lot of people. And we're still, dealing with the tail end of that.
That it'll keep going for the rest of this decade.
Yeah. But it has made a lot of us stronger, which is good.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, and just open the mind up a lot more too.
Yeah.
Like, so we started so I do a community networking event.
Yep.
And you're the same. You do BNI.
Yes.
So our BNI group is the biggest one in Australia.
Yes.
And we started it during COVID. And
right.
It was crazy.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Platinum One was done during COVID, and I'd never been in that space before doing networking. Like, I'd been to a few networking things before, but I'd just got work off the pack of someone knew me.
Yep.
I went in there, and then the people that were sitting around them or in their space, they're like, you have to use Jonno.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's how I grew the business. It's just word of mouth. But then networking was a different kettle of fish, and we were on Zoom. And I'll never forget doing the education piece one week, and I was literally shaking.
Yeah.
Like, public speaking was not even in my realm. Like, so different now.
Yeah, right.
Like, how the evolution of the gift that was BNI as well, and COVID.
Yeah.
So we went from a group that had just got together online, and I never forget the first time we actually all got together was at the Village Bell down in St Kilda.
Yeah.
And it was it's like, oh my God, I'm seeing all these people for the first time.
Man,
like,
you guys are real.
You guys are real. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But the energy on that day was just something else. And everybody let off steam that day. There's no doubt about that. Like, that was a pretty wild day. Good fun. But as we've evolved through BNI, it was, that group has just been like, I think I'm doing about 20% of the customers that I used to work for before COVID.
Yeah.
Before BNI.
Yep.
They're the only ones. I've got, my whole entire customer base has changed.
Yeah, wow.
And it's doing business with people that we all know, like, and trust.
And
I love it. That's the whole point of it.
That is the whole point.
Yeah. You get that belief system out there that it's a cult. It's not a cult. It's a community.
Yeah.
And there is a system here that works all the way around the world, and you take what you want from that, and then you put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah, you give.
Yeah, and that's been the gift of what P1's turned into. Like, I think there's sitting at 69 or 70 members now.
Far out.
Like,
big group.
It's huge. Like, and everyone's like, how do you do it? And it's like, bigger the better.
Just works.
Bigger better.
Yeah.
The going to those smaller groups, it's great, but they tend to be a little bit more of a coffee club.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a little bit of accountability and some goals around what you want the group to contribute to, you can make anything of it.
100%.
And I think they're doing about 17 mil with the thank you for closed business at the moment. I think they're just about to tick over 18. Like,
far out.
Good dollars, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good dollars. But the presidential role was the biggest gift. I got thrown into that.
Yeah.
And
it's trial by fire. Learn to public speak or struggle.
It was one of the things that I struggled with business is that everything was emotional. It's personal.
Yeah.
And all small business owners have this same belief system. It's just personal. Like, someone doesn't buy from you, oh my God, what did I do wrong?
Like,
there's all these different elements to it where with what BNI taught me was no emotion.
No.
And having to deal with that stage, I think by the time that Dave and I had finished in our leadership role, we were sitting about 54 members.
Yep.
And some of the biggest egos going around, and I know you won't mind me saying that. But there was a lot. But
yeah, especially that one electrician in your group.
Oh, I know, he's an absolute jerk. Absolute jerk. But it was, as I said, it was really cool. And the things that happen behind the scene when you are
in leadership,
yeah, but leading with an open heart,
yeah, that
was the cool part, because people would come and say, I'm really struggling. Like, there wasn't a week go by where someone wasn't really
doing it
destitute.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how can we give you space? And we gave them space, and they came back and they were better members than they were before. Some people self-selected out because they didn't like the level of accountability that our team.
That's the thing about the community, is that it's going to hold you to account, but it's also going to be there for you.
100%. It's there for you. Yeah. And that was what I love most about it. And so what happened is we actually seen that there was a 16-week lag effect.
Yeah, right.
So the stuff that was happening in BNI, it started to pop up in our business.
Yeah, right.
And all of a sudden, these traits that were coming through, the business started to be successful off the back of what that was.
Success in the group.
It's cool. Good. It's so good.
It's a knock-on effect. Yeah.
And that's where when leadership roles do come up, I encourage people so much to
say yes.
Say yes.
Figure it out later.
Yeah, 100%. That's what
You'll learn.
About. You'll learn.
Yeah.
But it's a gift that it's free education.
Yeah.
So my operations manager, Em, she was president of her group.
Yeah.
She's about the same as you.
Yeah.
She's young.
Yeah.
And she learnt a whole heap of stuff.
Yeah.
With dealing with especially men who don't like women in charge.
Yeah. There you go.
Different personalities.
Yeah.
Different personalities.
Yeah.
But also, again, how to remove the emotion from decision making.
Correct.
Just like, here's the facts. Okay, there has to be some level of compassion because we are compassionate people.
100%.
What's the decision?
Where does it go?
Yeah, where does it go? Yeah.
We had a really interesting time in my first BNI group. We were the youngest leadership team in the region for that year.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, and I was president. Just put on a good show. That's all I had to do. It was great.
What it is.
Yeah, and I wanted to lead by empowering my membership committee and my VP and my treasurer to just do what they thought was best for the group. And it was always about building the best thing for the group. My VP, Monique, and she won't mind me saying this, I kind of lied to her because I had no idea what the VP role entailed. Turns out they do all the work. And I was talking to the chapter support person, and she's like, oh, yeah, she'd be great at it, but it is a lot of work. And I'm just like, is it? I don't know. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. You'll figure it out. It's fine. It won't take up too much time. Anyway, she said yes. She dived in. She goes, you lied to me. I'm like,
I love that.
I didn't know. It's that old, if you believe it, it's not a lie. Like, I didn't know that there was actually a lot of work involved. But sink or swim, she swam, she killed it, she did a really good job, and the group's still benefiting from that leadership that she did. And this is young...
take skills away with her.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is a young woman in business who is killing it, and like now she's in the top 20 BNI performers for
probably
Australia. She's in the top 20 this month or whatever.
Yep.
And she's killing it. And she won't mind me giving her a shout out. And she just is doing so well. And I think it was because of that diving in and, we'll do it. We'll figure it out later. Yeah. She benefits.
That's what it all comes from.
100%. Yeah. Learn.
One of the little key things, and I'm not too fussed if this is a takeaway, if you're listening, take away. Recognition is one of the big things in the community.
100%.
So what I used to do and what I still do today is when you are paying complete attention, and I mean paying attention, so when you're present and you're watching what people are doing, what's the thing that they're doing that they're not being recognised for? Because there's stuff there that these are the gems in leadership. Yeah. So if there's something that they're doing and you can see them chipping away at it. So what I was doing was putting a 90-second video, self-tape, on what they're doing, why I'm grateful for them, and for them to continue doing what they're doing because we can see what you're doing and we really appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's created a community of people that just wanted to contribute.
Yeah.
And it wasn't coming from any place other than I'm just so thankful that you're actually here contributing.
Yeah.
And that you're a part of our life. That's it.
It's amazing what people are willing to do if they're going to get recognised.
Thank you.
Yeah, correct. If there's gratitude.
Thank you. Yeah. We're always looking for an element of, am I doing this right? Because we actually have no idea. And most of these, most groups don't actually work because no one actually knows what success looks like.
Yeah.
So when you go through the BNI system, you just strip out, okay, that's a win, that's a win, that's a win. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then same thing. So wherever it is. So when the apprentices are coming through, like in our business, when the musicians are coming through, like all these extra things that you can look for, where is somewhere where you can show recognition that's going to elevate someone to the next level? Yeah. Because that's Ted Lasso is my absolute all-time. And so the leadership experiment talk and the choices talk that I've got, it was all built off a lot of Tony Robbins, but a hell of a lot of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, nice.
So he, that show is just mind-blowing.
Such a good show.
Yeah. Like when they said they're releasing season 4, I'm just, yay! Couldn't believe how excited I am. So, and
it was just a good feel-good show. Like it was just like there's valuable lessons in it, but it was just such a nice change. It wasn't heavy. It was just this is good.
But Ted's leadership style is all about dropping seeds of thought.
100%.
I'm not pushing beliefs on you, but I'm going to guide you
to think this way.
Yeah. I'm going to hold space until you step into it.
Correct. How good.
The Jamie Tart thing that he did with him. Yeah. Jamie ended up playing for England or whatever it was. And I was just like, oh my God, like it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's the same with parenting. It's the same with any sort of leadership that you've got. You can't force answers.
You've got to empower
them, but just themselves. Leave space for someone to step in.
Yeah.
And like I've had that before with kids that I've coached at football, kids that I've coached at basketball.
Yeah.
It's like, I need you to be here, but just drop that seed of thought in, and then eventually they'll do what you're asking them. And when you're in the present moment, you recognize that, you overemphasize my God, I can't believe you just did it so good. Yeah. Like I'm fucking wrapped. So, and I actually, I'll give you one with, so we do a lot of work with domestic violence. Yeah. So we maintain a lot of the housing here in Victoria, in Melbourne. One of the things that when I was at a football club, we took on, for a year there, we took on foster kids. Yeah. And we sponsored them. We did all the boots, uniforms, subs, everything. Yeah. Give them an opportunity. Yeah. But one of the things that we let ourselves down within that community was actually coaching the coaches on how to deal with certain things that pop up. Yeah. So that exact thing that happened was I had a young boy who he was just on the borderline of being able to attack the footy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's all we're looking for is just the kids to put their head over the football. Yeah. And just have no fear, just go straight at it. And I know that wasn't me as a footballer, but as coaching, we want them to believe in themselves. Yeah, yeah. So, and it's happened for this one young kid. And it was such a big moment. We told his parents that he's going to win an award on the Sunday night. We're really wrapped with it. Oh, fuck, I had this story. And then his parents got drunk at the club. Yeah. Went back home. Yeah. I turned up to training on Tuesday night. Yeah. And his grandma was there. And he'd been taken off his parents because the parents had gotten drunk, fought, and hit him.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm just like, what is going on here? Yeah. And the moment where, bless his little cotton socks, I still see him around. Yeah. He came up to me after his grandma had spoken to me, and he asked me, am I still proud of him? And then his sister came up out of nowhere, and I was hugging him, down on one knee, hugging him, and his sister came up out of nowhere, and I hugged her as well.
Yeah.
And it was just this really beautiful moment where this kid had done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And
there was still that doubt. Far out.
Done nothing wrong, kid.
Yeah.
At all. Other than do your best at football. And
yeah.
That's it. And that's the sort of stuff that we were dealing with that year. Was
far out.
We had one kid that was had been. I'm not even going. Basically, he was on the bottom of a pack.
Yeah.
And because of past trauma, he absolutely lost his shit.
Yeah.
And just full Chernobyl meltdown.
Yeah.
And it was because of something that happened in the past. I don't want to share it. But and as coaches, we go, well, you've got one parent over there that's not allowed here. You've got another parent over here that's not allowed here. It's just like, how the hell am I supposed to manage that? So you're actually trying to do the right thing by the community.
Yeah.
But
no
wonder it's not
a set of complications.
And all this is a volunteer role.
Yeah.
Like we're doing at the sporting clubs. And it's like we want to bring people to community, but how the hell do you logistically work it?
You can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I hadn't thought about that story in years.
Yeah.
He's his grandma backed him, and like he still showed up to training every and roll up at the games. But that was a good moment in a way, but also just a.
Love a good grandma story.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you seen Hillbilly Elegy? It's on Netflix. The movie. Hans Zimmer does the soundtrack, and this will be the last thing before I do quick fire questions for you. But
right.
Hillbilly Elegy is about J.D. Vance, who's now the vice president of the US.
Oh, yes.
And it's how it was his experience growing up. He grew up in one of the poorest regions in America. Now it's just exited my brain.
That's okay.
But it talks about how, his parents were his dad wasn't around. His mum was, addicted to drugs or had other issues that were going on in her life, and how he was brought up through that. And his grandma was the one that stepped up to raise him and make sure that he was put on the right path, and that he got into the right school and he was able to put himself on the right path. And great flick, like will tear you up.
Yeah,
it's just so there's so much, and it's he starts to become a little bit of a terror, and wants to be that rebel, and how his grandma deals with that, and it's like, no, you need to smarten up, get your act together, and be put on the right path. And it's such a great story. So highly recommend that one to you. It's very good.
Yeah.
And I'll send you the book too.
Please.
Really, really cool. But it's that grandma role, stepping up and making sure the grandkids do the right thing and get on the right path and that sort of stuff. So that's what popped into my head when you were telling that story. So I like to do this at the end where we do a little bit of quick fire.
Right.
I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask you. Keep the answers short. Bit of an interesting one because I don't know where to go with this, but you've come to Australia, you're now Cat supporter. Is AFL your favourite sport?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. Was.
Oh. Was.
So
what is it now?
Basketball.
Yep.
Straight up.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
I've never played a game before in my life, and I coach it.
Yeah.
So weird.
Like Ted Lasso.
Yeah. I never put two and two together.
There you go. Yeah.
But I love the psychology of it. So making kids better kids.
Yep.
And seeing them find their potential, I guess.
Yep.
They're just that psychology part of it. And we're dealing with a few at the moment that have a lot of high expectations on themselves.
Yep.
And it comes up in games, and it's real math in my head of trying to work out what the seed needs to be dropped into.
Yeah.
Help
Ted Lasso
help these fellas along.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Favourite book?
I just went straight to the Da Vinci Code then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That book was because I wasn't a big reader.
Yep.
But that one got me into. I do audio books now.
Yeah.
But that was an actual book that I read cover to cover, and then I read it again.
Yep.
So
wow.
It was cool, man. So
okay.
when the movie came out, I didn't think it did it justice. But
yep.
Yeah.
Favorite genre of music to listen to and to sing?
Oh,
they can be different.
I love Pearl Jam.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Like when they came out last year, that was just so good. we not well, me and the lads from Bay and I knocked down a half a dozen steins each before we went in, thinking that's the dumbest thing in history to do because you're in a stadium and you just knock down a few ales.
Yeah.
You're going back and forth like a pregnant woman to the toilet. That was a ripper night.
Yeah.
But yeah, Something for Kate, Motor Ace, Powderfinger, all those good ones that we grow up with in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Really.
Echolalia by Something for Kate and Shoot This, I think it's called, by Motor Ace. Those things are just, I can listen to those albums over and over again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And to sing?
Sing?
Because they're totally different.
No, they are.
I love listening to 80s and I do sing along to the 80s and country music, but singing, my favourite is Bublé, that sort of jazz. Style.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay, man. I could see you with the suit, the dinner suit on. Yeah, 100%. Look, my ones is the one that I can get the crowd up and singing with me. Holy Grail, Hey San.
Great songs.
Better Man. Better Man at the moment is sounding mint.
Yeah.
It's another level that we brought that one to. The one that actually surprised me, and we pulled this out at a ladies' day the other week, was Bryan Adams' Mel C, When You're Gone.
Oh.
That went off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's really cool.
There you go.
Stealing My Kisses by Ben Harper.
Yep.
Real funky, groovy.
Yeah.
Gets the crowd going. And the band just has everybody contributes to that song.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Awesome. And who do you think you most sound like? Which artist, if you had to put yourself in a category?
Oh. I get told that I'm really coppery.
Yeah.
I don't think I could answer.
You can't answer that?
No.
You need someone to listen to your work and tell you.
Holy moly. No, actually, who did I sound? Well, it's that coppery feel, which is, I guess, I do take a lot of like Coombsy, Stapleton, all that sort of stuff with the country part.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yeah,
good.
But when I sing, one thing that I've felt is it's the greatest way to express how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So I get lost in the feel of it, the songs,
Mm.
and I think from what I've been told, that's why the crowd resonates with what we're doing, is because
You put your heart
I
into
actually
it.
forget sometimes the crowd's there. I'm just so
In the
locked
moment.
into the song that, the feeling comes from here.
Yeah.
And it's
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
I really do.
Great.
And
Awesome.
the fact that I've got that we've got a community of people that are coming with us with the charity band. I don't want to call it the charity band, but
The band.
band. No, look, at the end of the day, that's our goal, is that we want to be known as the charity band that fucking rocks.
Yeah.
And you're just like, we're not just getting them in because we're committing to
The cause.
The cause. We're getting them in because they're awesome.
Because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. How are people best to connect with you?
Instagram's usually a good one.
Yep.
So
What's the
you can
handle?
get me through Jonno McCartney, ProLink Trade Group, and also the Rising Sun cover band on there. Facebook's obviously there. And the website, prolinktradegroup.com.au. And we've got a whole bunch of other stuff coming up. So
Great.
with the more talks that we're doing, whether it's going to be the leadership experiment choices or the stuff we do at schools, there'll be another website popping up soon.
Yep.
Full life, mate.
Awesome.
Living a full life. And,
I remember my last question for you. Where are you doing Anzac Day?
Probably Ringwood RSL.
Yep.
Yeah, Triggs does the MC job there.
Yep.
So just out the front there, that's
Awesome.
where we usually do that one. So
Cool.
yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tossing up Melbourne or Torquay this year, but I think I'm probably going to be in Melbourne
That'd be
again.
an interesting one.
Torquay's always good.
Yeah.
They do a really good job down there. It's great.
Anzac Day is a good one, and it's always really cool to see everybody come out. It's the
100%.
numbers of people that do come out and respect that moment.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have it a little bit more front of mind than Anzac Day and Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
It would be just nice if it was just front of mind, or
Regardless.
just there's a message on the side there that think about the people that are out there serving us
Currently. Yeah.
and those that have before.
I'm a big advocate for Anzac Month. Do you think
that's
whole
cool
of
idea.
April? There's a few people talking about it now where it's Anzac Month. Down with that. 100%. Make April all about it. That's great. Obviously, it should be front of mind more regularly, but
No, that would be enough, more than enough, because that's what we're looking for. We don't want the lead up to Anzac Day, and like Kevin Sheedy did an incredible job of bringing, like he put Anzac Day on the map.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with what he did, and yes, Sheeds, I'm looking to have a coffee with you.
I'd love to have a podcast episode with you.
Let's bring him in.
There you go.
But no, yeah, I know Neil's and Chris's dream is to be able to address the teams before Anzac Day.
That'd be awesome.
And so once they put that out into the universe, it's like, it's on a podcast now.
Yep.
Sorry, boys, that's going to come.
Yep. We're manifesting it.
Oh, like Neil's incredible. Like just to listen to the man hold a room.
Yeah.
So you and I have done public speaking before, and we can hold a room.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better than this bloke.
Yeah.
It is insane how when you're in that moment and listening to him talk, he commands respect and quiet.
Awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah, cool.
Like, it tingles just thinking.
All right, I might have to come to the Ringwood RSL one day.
100%.
No, awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate that you've had to come all the way down from Melbourne in peak hour traffic. Thank you again.
No, I appreciate the friendship we're creating, mate.
No, awesome. I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to reach out to him, he said his Instagram handle a few minutes ago. And Rising Sun Charity is the place to go to check it out. The
Rising Sun Charitable Trust. Yep, you can donate, and merchandise is for sale there on the website as well. So jump on. Just show us some love and follow, and that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you all, and we'll see you next time.